What are y'all? This DJ Illmatic back once again, coming at you live and direct, straight from my crib, USA. Daily Operation, episode 23. Here to chop it up with you about all the goings on in the gaming world today. Now, Electric Relaxation, got a chance to play the Drive Club, the PS Plus free edition, and this will be the one and only appearance of Drive Club on Electric Relaxation. Now, before I tell you why I'm not going to spend any more time with it, let me give the game its props. First of all, it is a beautiful game. From the cars to the weather effects to the tracks themselves, the game is gorgeous. I really love the tracks. I often caught myself looking at the surroundings and careening off the road, which I'm not very good at the game to start with, and so not paying attention to the road really didn't help any. But the game is definitely gorgeous, one of the best looking games on this newer generation of consoles we've seen. The problem I have with the game, and the reason I'm not going to spend much time or any time at all playing it anymore, is it is not very welcoming to novice. Well, I'm not really a novice at racing games. I'm just not very good at them. And so for me, a racing game, as someone who's not very good at racing games, for me, a racing game, there are two necessities each racing game should have. First of all, I think each racing game should have a rewind feature, similar to what's in Forza. That's why I love the Forza series, both Forza Motorsports and the Horizon series, because it has a rewind feature. And so when I have those times where I am paying more attention to the surroundings and not paying attention to the road, or just not paying attention, or just something happens, or another thing that I appreciate is when a computer car decides to barrel into me from behind, or when we're going into a turn and sends me careening off a track, I have the option of rewinding that and redoing that instead of being knocked off the side of the road on the last lap and finishing in 12th place when I was in second or first. That infuriates me when the computer does that, and so that rewind feature is something I really enjoy because it alleviates that issue. Now, the necessity, the thing that's non-negotiable for me in a racing game, is it has to have some difficulty settings. I have to be able to adjust the difficulty, preferably also be able to adjust any assists, once again like you see on the Forza series. But I need to be able, definitely to be able to adjust the difficulty. I'm not very good at racing games. I play the Forza series, I play Gran Turismo, I played Project Cars, and so I play them. I just don't spend an enormous amount of time on them to get very good at them. And so this is not my strength when it comes to gaming, but I still enjoy playing them. And so and I play racing games on Super Easy Cool. I'm not afraid to admit it. I play it on Super Easy Cool. Allow me to get some wins every now and then. Occasionally I may bump it up depending on the game to the next level up. But usually I play it on one of the easier settings. That way I can compete, and it allows me to see all the game has to offer, even though I'm not very good at the game. Drive Club does not have any difficulty settings whatsoever, and so this is a huge turnoff for me. It's why I probably won't play the game again. If you see the video, if you're watching the video right now, you see that I'm not very good. Even these, and I assume that these early tracks or these earlier races are easier races, and I'm finishing in last place in each one of these races. Now, to their credit, they try to make it a little easier for gamers like me in that it's not just about winning the race. You have 3 goals to accomplish in each race and earn medals, and medals unlock the newer races. Even on this first couple of tracks, I cannot get enough gold medals to advance to the next set of tracks, and so that's very frustrating for me. It's very frustrating for me to play a racing game and race it, spend a couple hours racing, and just completely get destroyed by the computer every time. And so that's why I really wish this game had some sort of difficulty setting. That way I could see more of what the game has to offer. But because of that, unless I'm just willing to sit down and invest an enormous amount of time in it to get good enough to advance, which I'm just not going to do that, I'm not going to see most of the content on there. And so that's a huge turnoff for me. And so Drive Club is definitely not for me. Also got a chance to finish up The Wolf Among Us. Really enjoyed The Wolf Among Us. Once again, Telltale games are all about the story. I've heard them called interactive comic books before, and I would agree with that. There's not a whole lot of gameplay involved. There's some choices involved. Every now and then you have to move the analog stick quick enough to hit R2 or pound on a button. But for the most part, there's not a lot of gameplay involved. Telltale games are all about the story. And once again, with The Wolf Among Us, they told a really good story. Now, I had no idea that this was actually a DC comic series going into it, and so I didn't have any background knowledge of the series itself. I'm not sure how much that would have helped me in this, but I did enjoy the story overall. Only thing I didn't like about the story, and this is something I've talked about before, and it's not just video games but movies, everyone always wants to set themselves up for the sequel. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having a sequel, but I just hate how predictable it is when games and movies set themselves up for the sequel. And so that was one of the only complaints I had about the game itself. Another issue I had, and this is just for me personally, the trophies in Telltale games are usually very easy if you want to get the platinum. And so, for instance, The Walking Dead Season 1, if you wanted the platinum in that, all you had to do is complete the game. It didn't matter what decisions you made. If you completed the game, you got the platinum trophy. And that's really what I prefer to see. The Wolf Among Us, you had to go back, in order to unlock the platinum, you had to go back and make a couple of different decisions throughout the story. And I didn't like that, because when I play a Telltale game, I play it one time through, I make the decisions I made, and that's the story to me. That's what happened in my world, in my story, and I don't want to see those, what would have happened if I'd have made those other choices. Those people that made those other choices, that's... shout out to my dog who's barking right now. But people that made those other choices, that's their story, that's their canon. I have my own canon. That's all I want to remember the game by. And The Wolf Among Us, you had to go back and make those different choices in order to unlock the platinum. Now, the choices weren't groundbreaking. It didn't change the story, or the story didn't veer off drastically when I went back and made these other choices. But just going back and kind of seeing behind the curtain when you make these different choices, I didn't really like that. I wish they just make the platinum if you play it all the way through, and not really make it having to go back and change up what you see. Also got a chance to finish up Batman Arkham. What is it? Arkham Knight. There's so many Batman games, I get them all mixed up. Batman Arkham Knight. Finally got a chance to finish up Batman Arkham Knight. Absolutely love the game. If this is Rocksteady's last Batman game, they really went off on a high note. I absolutely love the game. Now, there have been some criticisms about the tank combat. I actually enjoy that. Now, I don't think that the Batmobile, including the Batmobile, was an important step, because the Batmobile is iconic in the Batman series. And so I'm really glad they included that. The tank combat, some people complain about it. I actually enjoyed it. Now, I don't think it's a groundbreaking mechanic. If they took it out, if someone else makes another Batman game and they take it out, I won't lose any sleep. But it was a nice change of pace. Some people say that you spend too much time in the Batmobile. It didn't really come off like that to me, but if someone says that, I can see where they might feel that way. But I enjoyed it myself, so I really didn't mind being in it. Really, the only criticism I have with the game is the boss fights are an extreme letdown for me. And the best example I can give you is the boss fight with Two-Face. When I finally got a chance to face off with Two-Face, I'm in a room, a bank, with Two-Face and all his goons, and I have to take out Two-Face and all the goons. And as soon as it starts, I drop down behind Two-Face and take him out like he was a normal minimum wage thug. One of the first day one Two-Face thugs that just started today. I take Two-Face out just as easy as I take out any of the regular thugs. So as soon as it starts, I take out Two-Face just by dropping behind him. Silent takedown. Now the room's full with 12 or so other Two-Face thugs I have to take out. But just the fact that the boss of this gang went down so easily, really, it was kind of anticlimactic. It really didn't put up a challenge you would expect from a supervillain. There are several other fights that incorporate, or boss fights that incorporate the Batmobile. I didn't like that either. I just really wish there would have been more of a payoff on the boss fights themselves. But in terms of the world and navigating the world, I really enjoyed that. To get the true ending, you have to unlock all the Riddler trophies. I was not about to do that. I do not want to spend that much time looking for all 243, I believe it was, Riddler trophies. And so, like a lot of people, I just went on YouTube to see the true ending, and definitely was not worth the pay. Not to say the true ending is bad, but honestly, if I'd have spent all that time unlocking 243 Riddler trophies and that was the true ending, I would have been a little upset. But overall, I love the game. I'm interested to see what Rocksteady does next. Now, there have been rumors or talk that the next game they'll make will be a Superman game, and there were a lot of clues, Easter eggs in the game, Batman Arkham Knight, related to Superman. I know Lex Luthor leaves a voicemail on Bruce Wayne's answering machine, and I hear some thugs occasionally talk about Metropolis. I'm not a huge Superman fan, so if there were any other kind of hints towards that universe, I didn't catch them because I'm not a big Superman guy. But if that is the next step that Rocksteady makes, it will be interesting. And the reason being is Metropolis and Gotham are basically polar opposites of each other. Every time I've ever seen Gotham, it's always night, it's always very gloomy, always very rainy. Where Metropolis is always daytime, it's very bright, very colorful. The characters themselves, while Batman has a very dark personality, as well as the villains themselves have a darker personality, which was very good for the storylines in all of the games. I don't think Superman has that quality in him or his villains. Now, once again, I've never really read Superman comics, so I've never really been a Superman guy. But from everything I do know, the worlds and the characters themselves are just complete opposites. And so it'll be very interesting to see what Rocksteady can do with that universe if that's the next step they make. Now, I have faith in them because they've done an excellent job with all 3 Batman games they've made. Now, me personally, my favorite Batman game is still the original Arkham Asylum, and that's honestly just because, and I think that's for a lot of people, that before Arkham Asylum, we really had no idea or no concept of what a good Batman or a good superhero game could look like. And once Arkham Asylum came out, we were blown away, and now we had expectations going into the rest of the game. So a lot of times, this is why first games in a franchise, they might not be the best in terms of quality or gameplay, but they're often people's favorites just because before this you really had no concept of what could be done in these universes, and afterwards now you go in with expectations, and so your enjoyment or your surprise from the game is kind of diminished. But I'm really interested to see what Rocksteady will do if Superman is the next step. I know some people have said maybe the whole Justice League. I'm definitely interested in whatever Rocksteady is going to do next. I just wonder if a Superman game could be pulled off if that's the next step. Alright, y'all, that's all the time we got for this week's episode of Daily Operation. Once again, this has been DJ Illmatic, Daily Operation, episode 23. Once again, check us out at 8bitchimp.com for all that gaming flavor you savor. Check me out on iTunes. If you want to just listen to the podcast, you can hit me up on iTunes, search 8-Bit Chimp. Under that, you'll find Daily Operation. Also, hit me up on YouTube, DJ_Illmatic. Subscribe to my channel. That way you catch Daily Operation as soon as it launches. Hit me up on Twitch, DJ_Illmatic as well. And also holla at me on Twitter, DJ Illmatic23, all together, no space, no underscore. Get at me at one or all 3 of them joints. I will get back to you. Fat shout out to my Organized Gamers family. Once again, this has been DJ Illmatic, Daily Operation. We out of here, y'all. 1.